This Week in Agribusiness, serving America's most essential industry. With agriculture broadcasters Orion Samuelson and Max Armstrong. And featuring agriculture meteorologist Greg Soyer. This Week in Agribusiness is brought to you by Pioneer. Proud to work with farmers in the most complex and rewarding industry on earth.
Coming up on this weekend's broadcast, it's the time of the year the turkey is in the center of the stage. What's happening in that segment of agriculture right now? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast here. Mr. Pearson allowed me to social distance with him at the table. Thank you for that.
Hey, it's a pleasure to see you in person, Max, especially as we head into the holiday season.
It's a confusing picture this year when you look at all that is expected with our families and whether or not we'll be getting together for the holidays.
Absolutely, and just the logistics. Getting that Thanksgiving meal to the table takes a lot of work, and a lot of that work goes back several months. To help us understand what's going on, we're going to talk to Brian Ernest from IHS Markit. Brian, earlier this year when COVID hit, a lot of people were shocked by how the livestock industry took it, but we didn't talk a whole lot about poultry. Bring us up to speed. What happened in that industry back when COVID was first going around?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Certainly the discussion, around the disturbance in the production side stems back to that time frame. From a production standpoint, there's been issues with COVID at plants. They've had some dampening in terms of production there. But really it stems from the consumer side as well. We had some runs on stores where you saw some non-traditional items make their way to the retail shelf, and one of those happened to be turkey, where we had some disappearance occur at a time frame where we typically don't see that happen. So certainly it's playing into overall supply situation in the current time frame.
Well, given the current time frame and the recent upsurge in COVID cases across the country, Brian, has the poultry industry, turkeys in particular, been able to rebuild? We started the year at an actual deficit in terms of overall supplies for turkeys in general. And we haven't seen a very strong building in overall inventories. The cold storage report for August actually showed a 10% decline in whole bird holdings. That's typically where we see a peak in terms of inventories. And it's an even more, it's a stronger situation for the hens, which were down roughly 14% when compared with a year earlier. So we've got a tighter supply situation leading into the big holiday this year.
Brian, how much of our turkey consumption actually takes place during this holiday period? I mean, starting in about the 70s, we started to see the spread of turkey consumption almost the year round.
Yeah, and really the last half decade, we've seen expansion into the deli counter, more acceptance throughout the year, stronger use. And one of those channels is the hotel and restaurant industry. And we've seen, a lack of demand and support from that sector this year as we've got less business travel. And, that has been a detriment to the turkey industry. So there's more reliance on this eating occasion to support overall disappearance this year, where we haven't seen that as much in recent years.
Is there any suggestion about just what kind of preference the consumer will have for this Thanksgiving bird? In other words, we've been told that we shouldn't congregate the way we have in the past for Thanksgiving. Does that mean that the consumer will be after a smaller bird?
Yeah, that certainly you'll have that to a degree. I think the family gatherings that we'll see for Thanksgiving this year, likely we'll have fewer table settings than what you traditionally see, but we'll probably have more of those gatherings if folks aren't, going outside their immediate family for Thanksgiving. The other thing we're anticipating is, it may be a last-minute decision for Thanksgiving this year, and that suggests that we could see more of the meal prep take place at the retail establishment or the grocery store, and we anticipate we'll see some popularity show up there this year.
We often see it used as a loss leader in this period. You buy the groceries and they throw the turkey in with it. Will there be some of that this year, Brian?
Yeah, we've certainly noticed some aggressive feature activity
birds as low as, in the 39 to 50 cent per pound area, even in certain regions. But we don't think the retailer will have to be very aggressive to move through the available inventories this year. And we anticipate we'll have successful clearances here.
Brian, we appreciate it. Thanks for spending time with us here. Brian Ernest from IHS Markit.